The UFC is headed to the Great White North, and they are taking 2 UFC titles with them. Belal Muhammad will be defending his belt for the first time in his career. Valentina Shevchenko will be fighting somebody who is not Alexa Grasso for the first time in 3 years. Overall, UFC 315 is a decent fight card with some very exciting matchups. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC 315 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before we look forward, let's take a second and look back. UFC Des Moines was last night. Overall, that card was very underwhelming, but a couple of notable things happened. First, the only 2 undefeated prospects on that card lost, and 2025 is not a great year for undefeated prospects. This card, UFC 315, only has 1 in Navajo Stirling, and I wouldn't quite put him in the same category as a couple of these others like Bo Nickel. UFC Des Moines was just okay. It wasn't great, but Bo Nickel losing is a very interesting dynamic because, frankly, he should have lost. He only had 7 fights into his career. Renier de Ridder was an established veteran in this space and a literal giant. If you want to get my full recap, my full reaction to every single fight on that card, look for the Home Alone thumbnail. I filmed it immediately following UFC Des Moines. We had some success on that card. Jacob, who wasn't on camera last week but still did all the premium things, put up a whole bunch of winning bets. Jacob went off last night. Had a couple of spectacular parlays. My safety parlay also hit at UFC Des Moines. That is 4 of the last 5 events. Almost 3 units of net profit from this one single bet. 53% ROI from this one single bet. And frankly, the only one I lost was at UFC 314. And there were some wild circumstances with that Ige Woodson stoppage. If you do want to unlock the safety parlay, it's up there right now on the website, WeWantPicks.com. I even have UFC Vegas 106's safety parlay up and ready to go, and that is at plus money. If we take a look at the community, I got a couple of these DMs at 1:30, 2:30, 3:30 in the morning. Stretch put together this fantastic parlay. He said, great breakdown and premium tools helped me build this nice parlay. We got a DM from NYC in the Discord with a winning DraftKings fantasy ticket. It was an optimal lineup, and he said he made $3,500. There are the screen grabs. And then we had another DraftKings optimizer pitch there from Red Film Studio. Said optimizer came in clutch with the DraftKings fantasy. I knew Bo was going to shit the bed, and that's why the tools can be fantastic. We're human beings. We make picks. We give bets. We make decisions using our brains, but sometimes the machine needs to do the work, and we do have a whole bunch of tools for you. This is about the time that I would hit the premium promo, right? Right about now is when I tell you to go to the website, and I rant, and I rave, and I do slide after slide. A, that's how we feed our families. B, people get a little upset, right? We always get the people, hey, the intro. I'm already premium. I don't want to hear it. Or, why do you need to tell me to go to the website? Why is the intro so long? And let me say this. If all I was selling was a couple of picks and bets on a Patreon, that's a 2-second intro. Go to my Patreon, get my bets, that's a 2-second intro. But the fact that we have tool after tool after tool, the fact that we have an artificial intelligence, the fact that we have DraftKings fantasy tools and FanDuel tools, Prize Picks and Underdog, the fact that we have a tape index where you can do your own research, the fact that we have a tool that lets you deep dive statistics and stack them and run reports, the fact that we have all of those things is why the intro is so long. So while it may take a few minutes of your precious time and a free video that Fast Forward exists on, the point being, the reason the intro is so long is because we have so much to sell for $10. The entire package is only $10. And what's funny, what's happening in the community, which I love it, is that other people see the success that we're having and they're trying to sell their own products. And that's normal in any industry. We weren't the first to sell a premium package for MMA or UFC, and we won't be the last. But we are establishing the price point. We are the leaders in this very specific, very niche space of breaking down fights and giving picks and bets and selling tools. But we have also told the world that that is a $10 service. We have told the world you can get the greatest package in the history of this space for $10 at WeWantPicks.com. But some of the world is greedy. Some of the world is stubborn. Some of the world is charging 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 bucks per month. None of those numbers were an exaggeration. And what's happening, which I mentioned I love, is while those people, the trying to be famous in front of a fake studio with the bright lights in front of them, the begging for the YouTube stardom people are trying to do is sell their list of 4 bets for $20. And the general community, whether you are a premium member or not, the general community who has seen these videos says, whoa, how are you charging $20 when Angelo's only charging $10? And they always come up with some snarky, well, but I'm the best. Are you? Do you have DraftKings fantasy tools? Do you have an optimizer? Do you have a tape index? Do you have an artificial intelligence? Do you have a fight simulator? What do you have other than a list of bets on your Patreon? So while you didn't get your normal premium pitch rant, what I did try to do here is put things in perspective. We have quite literally the greatest service on this planet, and it is only $10, and it will remain $10 forever. Because A, I care about you. B, I understand the volatility in this space. Charging more $10 is nothing more than a greedy cash grab. WeWantPicks.com, click become a member, support your boys, and unlock anything you could ever want or need heading into a fight week. I mentioned the DraftKings optimizer. It builds lineups for you. I mentioned the tape index, a new tool that will guide you, provide the video for you. You click the little red button. You can do your own tape study. We have a tool called the Fight Simulator. It simulates fights 100,000 times, and it gives you those outputs. We have a data analyzer. This is where you can deep dive statistics, stack filters, really run with the data. And all of this is available inside of an app. We have a free app. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Download the app. You will get push notifications. Yesterday, I put out a push notification saying the UFC Vegas 106 safety parlay is up and ready to go. All of this is available for $10 a month. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. And if you unlock it now, we have the unicorn of calendar situations where you will get 2 pay-per-views. You'll unlock every single pick, bet, and tool for not only UFC 315, but on the other side, and it's at UFC 316. So you get UFC 315. You'll get the Gilbert Burns fight night. You will get the Aaron Blanchfield fight nights. And then you will get UFC 316. All the picks, all the bets, all the tools. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's $10. You sign up. You hate it. Cancel. It's $10. What are you out? A McDonald's cup of coffee? WeWantPicks.com. UFC 315 is a pay-per-view. And if you know anything about me or this channel or what we do here, we do vlogs for pay-per-views. We hang out for the day. We cook good food. We have our friends over and we open mail. If you want to send something to be opened, a letter, your grandmother's home cook, don't send food. I can't eat random food sent by strangers, but you get the point. WeWantPicks.com is the website. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas 75078 is the mailing address. You want to send something? We'll open it. We'll read it. We'll do all the things. P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078. We're about to deep dive this card. I'll tell you right now, there's only 11 fights. There were 12 about 10 hours ago. And then Joel Alvarez, that fight dropped. So now there are only 11 fights. They'll replace that fight. They'll probably add another one. I imagine we end up with 13. And we're going to need to, because we don't have to go back that far to UFC 313 to when 2 fights dropped on a pay-per-view on fight night. And we were down to almost nothing. There's no way we can start at 11 with anything that could happen at the weigh-ins, anything that could happen the day of, after the weigh-ins. I imagine everybody's almost there. Still could be visa issues. They're going to put more fights on this card. And you're going to say, when are we going to break that card down? Thursday. You are used to me being live on Tuesday nights with Jacob. This week is a little different. Once a year, I have this whole big thing that I have to do, and I can't be home and I can't film this. So Thursday will be the full card breakdown live stream. Thursday, May 8th, Thursday, not Tuesday. Let's go ahead and break down this card. This is a late addition to the card. We have Daniel Santos taking on Jeong Lee. Daniel Santos stepping up on somewhat short notice. Nothing crazy, about a couple of weeks. He's an old school shoot-a-box fighter, both in look and style. He plots forward. He's got tight hands, and when he hits the pocket, he'll explode. Good power, good speed. He's got solid leg kicks, and similar to Jeong Lee, when he gets dropped, he can recover like nothing happened. He's got very good BJJ from bottom, but he can be taken down. And even though his BJJ is good, it's also old school, and that he will play in the guard. He'll hang out off his back instead of trying to create scrambles and get out of there. He's coming off that canceled fight with Davy Grant from a few months ago where he was sick, so the whole thing was scrapped. He's taking on Jeong Lee. Jeong Lee's a pretty well-rounded fighter. He's explosive, he's powerful, he's confident and technical. He has a loose striking style that he manages with range as well as solid takedowns and grappling. He's very long for the division, and he uses that length well by walking people down. He can be hittable himself because of his low hands, but he's got a solid chin and grappling as a backup plan. He's coming off that knockout loss to Hyder Amel. I mentioned Daniel Santos stepping up on about 2 weeks' notice when his original opponent, Jeong Lee's original opponent, dropped. And that's unfortunate for Lee because he was going to run through his original opponent. This is a very different fight. Santos is a typical shooter box fighter. So he's going to come forward. He's got that insane aggression. He's going to try to take your head off, but he also can be taken down. He also is going to be incredibly hittable. Right now, the odds are minus 135 for Santos. Just 2 days ago, they were minus 170, and I think the public is realizing, listen, Santos isn't exactly a world beater. He's pretty good. He's talented. He's dangerous. But this is also short notice. So these odds are getting closer and closer to what I think they should be. Out of the two of them, Daniel Santos is the more dangerous fighter. But he has a lot of holes in his game. And if Jeong Lee decides to just grapple, keep it safe, shoot the takedowns, he's the one who was on this fight card originally. He's the one who had the full camp. And if he's the one who can weather the early storm, get the takedowns, keep his elbows in and avoid random submissions off his back, then he's going to win this fight. I do think he's the pick. If you want to bet on that side, you're going to lose some value as this fight goes on, as this week goes on. Let's see if we can get some fancy prop bets. But I am going to go with Jeong Lee here just because of the chaos that Daniel Santos brings early. I do think that'll fade, and I don't think he'll defend the takedowns. Then we have Modestas Bukauskas taking on Aiemann Cutelaba. This will be a fun fight. This fight also means quite literally nothing for this division. And we have a few of those on the card, and they're okay. This is the entertainment industry after all. So if we get a slobber knocker, if we get a good old-fashioned slug fight that doesn't matter for rankings, it's okay. As long as the entire card isn't that. So I'm good with this matchup. It's not exactly a gift to the Canadian fans, but we'll take what we can get. We have Modestas Bukauskas. Pretty versatile striker. He's dangerous on the feet. He can be a bit low volume, which is why he has that negative striking differential. But he has all the tools to be successful in the UFC. He's a 71% takedown defense. He's typically a striker only. He's coming forward, he's throwing bombs, and he is coming off that knockout win over Rafael Sequeira, where he moved forward and he landed clean. He's taking on Aiemann Cutelaba. Aiemann Cutelaba is a grappler. He happens to be very powerful. He throws hands big. He's happy to fight in a phone booth, even though his chin will not always allow it. He is a feast or famine guy, typically chasing stoppages and many times getting stopped. He's good on the ground. He racks up tons of takedowns, but they're sloppy. They're body locks. He uses muscle instead of technique. He is coming off that submission win over Erslan. Breaking down a Cutelaba fight is always tricky. He's good and he sucks at the exact same time. He's got power, but he's also hittable. He has offensive takedowns, but no takedown defense. To me, this is actually going to come down to Bukauskas. And if he decides to wrestle, he's not exactly a Nurmagomedov, but he has dipped into that pond when he's needed to, like his win over Marcin Prochniak. I am actually going to go the Modestas side here because I think he's the more technically sound and well-rounded of the two. But we all know that Cutelaba is Cutelaba. He'll beat people he's supposed to lose to. He'll lose to people he's supposed to beat. You don't know what the hell you're going to get. But I do know this will be a fun fight for the most part, and there may be a bet on Cutelaba to win inside the distance, decision, no action. What that means is if Cutelaba finishes Modestas, knocks him out, submits him, TKO, whatever, then we'll get paid. But if he loses a decision, even if he wins a decision, we get a full refund like that bet never happened. Cutelaba is not the most durable guy on the planet, but I do think in this situation, he's the more dangerous of the two, and it's potentially back and forth, sloppy, get a refund, or Cutelaba will find a shot. I'm going to pick Bukauskas, but insanely low volume. Insane low. Picks are not bets. And you know what? You know what drives me nuts about some of these basement dwellers? Last night at UFC Des Moines, I picked a bunch of underdogs. I had Daniel Rodriguez winning. I didn't necessarily pick RDR, but I said, do not bet Bo Nickel. He's affordable for a reason. He could absolutely lose this fight. This is going to be tricky. I had picked a few other underdogs as well. And I successfully picked a dog or two. Crickets. I unsuccessfully pick the Russian Dudakova to beat the absolute garbage Juliana Miller. But I said, don't bet on this fight. This is crazy. Neither one of them are very good. How could you bet on this? I might even bet on Juliana Miller plus 3.5. Juliana Miller wins. You suck. Click, 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 submit. Mom, make me a sandwich. So I'm going to pick Bukauskas. Picks are not bets. If I end up betting Cutelaba inside the distance decision, no action, let's see where we end up. Make sure your notifications are turned on. I don't know what that'll be. I don't know if that'll happen. But I'm certainly not going to bet on Bukauskas, even though I'm picking him to win. Can't have the same confidence in every single pick across the board. That's just not possible. Because this next fight, tons of confidence. Not tons. Medium confidence here. We got Navajo Stirling taking on Erslan. Navajo Stirling is a bit of a prospect. And if you listen to Bet Sam talk about him, this guy's the next coming of Christ. Navajo Stirling is only 6-0 in his career. He is the only undefeated prospect on this card. The only one. And if 2025 is an indication of anything, it's that this dude's about to get beat bad. Or maybe his next fight. Because he's not quite a massive favorite here. They have been waiting for these undefeated prospects to be 6, 7, 8-1 favorites before they actually shit the bed. But Navajo Stirling is a former professional kickboxer. He is early in his MMA career. As a kickboxer, he does a lot of things that you would expect him to do. Nice combinations. Works kicks really well. He'll invest in the body early. He's not a high-volume guy, but he does do a really good job making the strikes matter, and he throws them in a meaningful way, meaning it's not just empty pressure and pitter-patter. He's working on specific techniques and combinations. If he is inside the pocket, he will plumb your head and throw up knees. The question about Navajo, though, is what does his grappling look like? And that did get answered in his last fight. Turns out grappling's not very good. He was taken down 3 times. He's taking on Erslan. Erslan is a powerful striker. He can end your night with one single punch. He can alternate between technical, low-volume distance striker and high-paced bully. He's got decent movement. He's relatively light on his feet. He likes to plot forward and then explode with counters. If he has you in trouble, he is absolutely unrelenting. You're not going to see much in the way of offensive grappling from him, but he did just lock in around with a takedown in his loss against Cutelaba. And I just want to ask, did you people not learn anything? Do you not learn your lessons? Sure. Navajo Stirling won his last fight, but he was minus 1,000 and worked to a decision in a fight where he was taken down 3 times. He was supposed to be a killer, a nasty striker. He was the future of this division. Then he goes to a decision with a guy who was 6-4 in his last 10. Navajo doesn't seem to be who Bet Sam says he is. And the reason I'm asking this question, when are we going to stop going bananas on these UFC debuts? The Kiwi bias is running rampant. I think Bet Sam is the one putting out the narrative that this guy is the next big thing. And Navajo doesn't suck by any means, but he's not exactly where he's supposed to be for people to be loading up on the guy. He was 5-0 in his last fight, a minus 1,000 favorite, gets to a decision after being taken down over and over and over. And after just railroading him right now, I'm still going to pick him because this should be a striking-only matchup, and he's the better striker. But I would be very careful with your bets. I would be very careful with what we have going on here. He should win. I'm going to pick him to win. We have striker versus striker, and he's the better striker. But this is MMA, and we've seen weirder shit. Now, a confident pick from the big man. We got Jessica Andrade taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. You know we ride hard for Jazzy here. She has won us a ton of money. She has taken us to the promised land time and time again with just good old-fashioned grit. But this is one of her biggest tests. She is fighting a former world champion in Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade isn't great, technically speaking, but she is accomplished. She is strong. She is a bully. And she is dangerous. Former world champion, a contender in 2 different weight classes. She's beaten some of the best women on planet Earth. Style-wise, I mentioned, she's just a bully. I mean, that's basically it. You're not going to get any clean, beautiful technique. You're never going to watch a breakdown and hear Felder go, I really love that left hook to the body, straight right combination. You're never going to hear. You're going to hear, she's so strong. She dumped Rose Namajunas on her head to win the title 11 and a half years ago. Jessica Andrade is tough. I am always surprised at how young she is with 33, given what she accomplished and how long ago she accomplished it. She's going to move forward. She's going to get in your face. She's going to bomb away, try to get you to the cage, maybe try to drag you to the ground, try to stay standing. She doesn't have a set game plan. She doesn't have a set fight style. She is just tough, and she will just work forward, bombing away. Her only notable win in the last couple of years was that very nice one over Mackenzie Dern. Outside of that, she's getting out technique by people who have better technique, and she's just bullying people that she can bully. Coming off that loss to prospect Natalia Silva, where the strikes were more than doubled. She's taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jazzy's a wrestler. She likes to come forward, push that pace with the striking, and then work in some takedowns. She's got a good clinch where she controls your body, throws heavy knees, and then works to the ground. She is an accomplished wrestler. Outside of the octagon, she was wrestling long before her MMA career. She's got great hips, so even if she doesn't have the best entry, she'll scramble her way to the top. She's coming off that very straightforward win over Mayra Silva, where she got the takedowns, had the control, and basically broke that woman in half. This should be Jasmine all day. This is a tailor-made fight for her, a smaller girl who doesn't have great takedown defense. Jasmine should be able to come forward and grind. The only concern, and this is literal nonsense. This is you get in your own head when you look at this shit too long, okay? So just know the confident pick is Jasmine Jasudavicius, okay? That's the confident pick. But I do have some reservations because it wouldn't be a big Ange breakdown if I didn't worry a little bit. And my one and only concern here is, like, Jasmine just keeps winning. Like, when is she going to lose? This will be 5 in a row if she wins this fight. Is she a top 10 fighter in the world? I mean, maybe. She's got good wrestling, but that's kind of where it ends, right? When she fought good people, we saw her lose. Natalia Silva beat her. Tracy Cortez beat her. They weren't drudgings by any means, but they weren't exactly insanely competitive fights. So how long will Jasmine win? And my only weirdo, insecure piece of all of this is some of these like mid-tier fighters, and Jasmine's probably at the top of the mid-tier, maybe the bottom of the top tier, because of the wrestling and the grinding and the cardio and her just general attitude and gamemanship. I love the way Jasmine fights. But at some point, they're going to lose. I don't think it's here. I do think Jasmine wins, but I always get nervous. I like fighters on like 2-fight win streaks, 3-fight win streaks. After you get beyond that, it's like, oh, God. Like, how long is this going to continue? How good are you? You're not going to get 10 in a row. Like, when is it going to end? Jasmine should win here. She is the pick. You could just ignore that whole segment and call me soft. Don't do that. I'll probably ban you, honestly. But I'm going with Jazzy. Simple. And I might parlay her with her teammate, Mike Malott. This is the third time the two of them have fought on the same card. And if you parlayed them together every single time, you'd be 2-1. You'd be up money. You'd be 2-1. But we'll break down the fight before we start talking about potential bets. We got Mike Malott taking on Charlie Radtke. Mike Malott, pretty well-rounded guy. He's got loose striking style, allows him to box and kickbox pretty comfortably. He's technically sound. He manages range well. He doesn't have a specific background, so you might get a fight where he's shooting a bunch of takedowns. You might get a fight where he's dancing around on the outside. He has 6 fights in the UFC, 2 knockdowns, a knockout, and 3 submissions. He's coming off that decision win over Trevin Giles, where the striking was pretty basic, but it was clean. It wasn't an exciting win, but he needed to get back into the win column. He's taking on Charlie Radtke. Charlie Radtke is an athletic grappler. He lowers his level. He takes shots. He immediately works for positions. He's also a powerful striker who's always down to throw. He's very controlled on the ground. He is dangerous. He hunts for submissions and transitions well between them. He does pull guillotine and do some like chasey, dumb shit from time to time. He also tends to slow as fights go on, and he can be hittable. But he throws with power. He's very tough, and he's dangerous everywhere. He's coming off that knockout win over Matt Semmelsberger that sent Semmelsberger out of the UFC. I mentioned this a third time that Mike Malott and Jasmine Jasudavicius have been on the same card. They're always favorites. They always have favorable matchups, and I always want to parlay them. And the only reason that's not an instant guarantee, the only reason I don't immediately just parlay them when they're together in Canada is because of Mike Malott's loss against Neil Magny. That loss is problematic because that was a fight that he was winning. He was dominating. It was very clearly going to be a Mike Malott decision. But just a few minutes away from the final bell, things got a little tough for Mike, and he quit. He straight up quit. It wasn't got caught with a lucky punch. He quit. And anytime you see that happen, it's a little concerning. Mike's the better fighter here. He's faster. He's more athletic. He has cleaner skills overall, but he's not the tougher guy. If Charlie has a late surge because he's an absolute dog, is Mike going to quit again? Is he going to fold under that late pressure? I'm hoping not. I did actually place that parlay. It's plus money. The Mike Malott, Jasmine Jasudavicius parlay. Not going to be the safety parlay, I'll tell you that. Anytime you see someone that has some quit in them, it's a little nervous. It's a little nerve-wracking. I am going to pick Mike Malott here because he's just the better fighter. And he may have, I don't want to say learned his lesson because he didn't make a mistake. He just quit. But he does seem very focused on winning. And maybe that serving of humble pie loss was helpful because his last fight wasn't very exciting, but it was a very clean win. And then we have Marc-Andre Barriault taking on Bruno Silva. Remember early on when I talked about the Aiemann Cutelaba fight and how it was basically meaningless for the division? Didn't matter in any capacity whatsoever other than it'd be pretty entertaining, and this is the entertainment industry. Well, we've got two of those on this card, and here's the other one. This doesn't matter. The two of them have not found a win in a while. They basically said, all right, Marc-Andre's a Canadian. Let's throw him in here, and let's actually give him a favorable matchup. The UFC tends to railroad Canadians for some reason. They usually give them tough, bad matchups at home. Not this time, though. Marc-Andre has a pretty winnable fight against Bruno Silva. Both these guys struggling as of late. Neither one of them are insanely old, but they do have a lot of years and miles on their bodies. Marc-Andre Barriault's a pretty well-rounded fighter. He's got solid kickboxing, good takedowns, and good jiu-jitsu. He's typically looking to pressure forward, wear you down on your feet. He's got that impressive striking volume with almost 6 significant strikes landed per minute. He's also hit with more than 5. He's not particularly powerful, but he is busy enough and tough enough to grind out wins. He's coming off that 3rd loss in a row, this time to Dustin Stoltzfus. Yikes. He's taking on Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a heavy-handed striker. He's a solid BJJ. He can absolutely knock your head off at any moment or even implement a grapple-heavy game plan. Although he has great hands and hits like a truck, he also is very hittable himself. He, too, has a negative striking differential. His performances are hot and cold, which makes him unreliable as of late. He's been on absolute ice with a 4-fight losing skid. And there was a point in time not too long ago in this galaxy, Star Wars reference, when Bruno Silva was a dangerous dude. He was on his way to becoming somebody. He has a 7-fight win streak. He was loaded with all finishes. He went toe-to-toe with Alex Pereira. And then it all came crashing down. It's almost as if Alex took all his aura and all of his confidence. That guy got dropped by Gerald Mearshart. He is currently on a 4-fight skid. He's still tough, but he's not that guy anymore. He's not that big, powerful striker that knocked out Brad Tavares. This has to be a Marc-Andre pick. He's on his own losing skid, but it's very different vibes. His losses are more about skill and matchup. Marc-Andre is just losing to better people, where Bruno Silva looks like he's fading. He looks like a shell of himself. Marc-Andre looks like he's always been the same guy, fighting the same way. So Marc-Andre is going to be the pick. He likely wins this fight with just sheer volume. There might be a moment or two it's a little nerve-wracking early, but then Bruno will fade and Bruno will break later. Marc-Andre is the pick, -179. I guarantee, come fight night, those odds are not going to look like that. I bet he's a 3-4-1 favorite potentially come fight night because this is a card that doesn't have very obvious plays on it. So when you get a semi-obvious play like a Marc-Andre Barriault, people just tend to hammer the absolute shit out of it. Mark's the pick. If you like it, I would jump on it before those odds are long gone. And then we have our featured prelim of the evening. This fight does matter. We have an interesting prospect in Bekzat Almakhan, and we have Brad Katona. Brad Katona is not necessarily a prospect, but he is a guy that you know what you're going to get. He's going to move forward. He's going to stay in your face, and he's going to fight. He's not a quitter. He's a pretty well-rounded guy, always in great shape, always trying to make something happen. So this fight is a very interesting matchup. It should be exciting, which as of right now is why it's the featured prelim. This fight order is probably going to change, especially when they add more fights. Brad Katona is a 2-time Ultimate Fighter winner. He's quietly been building a decent resume for himself. He's a mobile striker. He's got good footwork, good volume. And while he is primarily a striker, he is aware enough to transition to wrestling when he needs to. He's got great low kicks, solid takedown defense, plenty of cardio. He is coming off that close loss to Jean Matsumoto where he was fast, he pressured forward, and he landed a beautiful elbow early. He's taking on Bekzat Almakhan. This guy's a pretty good fighter. He's got tight, dangerous striking, excellent offensive wrestling. He's smooth on his feet. He fires away in the pocket. As soon as his opponents are comfortable in a kickboxing match, he transitions to the body. He works body locks, singles. He tries to get it to the ground. He does lack some control, but he has no shortage of cardio. So he'll restart the exchange. He'll shoot over and over again. He's very dangerous with 13 knockouts, but many of them are on the ground as well. So don't just look at that record and be like, oh, he's taking people's heads off. He's a busy guy. He'll get the takedowns if he needs to. He's also coming off that UFC loss against Umar Nurmagomedov, where he dropped Umar bad early. He hit Umar so hard that Umar didn't throw another strike the rest of that fight. He's like, we're wrestling. That's it. We are wrestling. And my question to not you specifically, you sitting on the toilet, evacuating your bowels after a wild Saturday night, not just you. The question is to everybody, when the hell are we going to stop hyping up losers? And I don't mean losers like your fat sister or the dorks that use Tapology. I mean losers like people who come into the UFC and lose their UFC debut. But they lose so well that we've convinced ourselves they're good. Jordan Vucenic, for example, came in short notice, looked good against Garam. Roberto Romero, 2 weeks ago, he came in short notice, looked good against Onama, and then got sparked. Their next fight's out, big flops. Bekzat can be more of the same. His circumstances are a little different because the person he lost to isn't a mid-tier fighter. He lost to Umar Nurmagomedov. But here's the reality. Bekzat is a good fighter. He landed literally only 3 total punches in a loss, and now he's a good-sized favorite. I'm going the other side. I am going to pick Brad. The question was, when are we going to learn? I learned. Big Ange learns. Big Ange went to very good public schools in Connecticut. I learned. And what I know from this fight is Bekzat is unproven, despite the narratives, despite the one-punch success that we're going to hear about over and over and over from every dork with a YouTube channel on the broadcast team. All we're going to hear this week when this dude's name is said is that he landed one good punch a year ago and then was completely controlled to dominate the rest of the fight. That's all we're going to hear. But I'm going to step out of that narrative, and I'm going to pick the gritty Canadian who will move forward and fight his ass off. Brad Katona is not the best fighter in the world, but I know for a fact he will fight his ass off. I'm going to pick him to win. I'm going to be a little safer with the bet. When we get the pro prop bets, I'm probably going Brad Katona plus 3.5. If you don't know what that is, you're buying points on the judges' scorecard. I mentioned I whispered actually. I said, I might do the 3.5, just like that, with Juliana Miller. Because I said Juliana Miller isn't very good, but she's gritty, she's tough. It's not crazy that she wins a round. The way the math works is you essentially have to win 1 round on all 3 judges' scorecards. You can get screwed. It happens. There's always some rogue 30-27 judge. But for the most part, when I like a good-size underdog that I think will win, I actually am picking them to win. Depending on what the odds are for the plus 3.5, I would rather go that route than the full money line. Brad is at home. We might get a favorable judge even if things aren't perfect for him. And hopefully, we're in this era that you guys keep reminding me about that nobody gives a shit about wrestling. So hopefully, if Bekzat does go solid heavy wrestling, nobody will care. Brad Katona is going to be the pick. Let's wait for those prop bets to drop and make sure you have notifications turned on with the app so that when I do place the prop bet, you get notified immediately so you can get ahead of any line movement. And if you also want to get ahead of some bills, we'll send you $50. We have affiliate links, right? We got a couple links at wewantpicks.com/bets. Those affiliate links are for different sportsbook partners. You click a link, you make an account, you sign up, you make a deposit. They're going to pay me commission, right? That's what an affiliate link does. And then I will slice off $50 of it and send it to you as a thank you. You make a new account, I make a couple of bucks, you make a couple of bucks, and we all ride off into the sunset holding hands together. That's wewantpicks.com/bets. If you head over to the website and you want to do some research, you want to get ahead of some of the tape. Let's say you're already prepared for UFC 315 and you're watching this because my sultry voice and my wisecracky old-timey jokes. Great. If you're trying to get in your UFC 316 research, if you're trying to get in research ahead of time, we have a full suite of tools that will help you. One of them is the tape index. We just added this a few weeks ago. The tape index is going to give you every card built out for the future. It'll give you every fighter on that card and their full fight history, including canceled fights. And any fight that has a little red button next to it will play the video. You click the red button, video pops up, boom. You can do your own tape study. We have another cool tool, the DraftKings Optimizer. If you don't know what this is, you don't play DraftKings Fantasy, I've got news for you. We coded it from scratch. We built it from the ground up, and we added what we call a beginner mode to help people use these tools. It's not reasonable to expect that every single person knows what the hell all these numbers are. What are projections? What's minimum exposure? What's maximum exposure? People don't know what that means. So the beginner mode just asks you a series of questions. If you go back to the beginning of this video and you saw that ticket that somebody sent in where they made $3,500 playing DraftKings Fantasy, and you say, hey, maybe I want to play. I like fantasy football. I love UFC. The marriage between those two things sounds amazing. Well, you can go to the optimizer, click on beginner mode, and it'll just ask you a series of questions. Who's your most confident favorite? Any underdogs that you like? Anybody you absolutely hate? A few questions like that, and it'll build the lineups for you. We also have a tool called the Fight Simulator. The Fight Simulator is simulating fights 100,000 times. And it's taking those simulations, it's using historical grappling stats, historical striking stats, and it's spitting out the results. And you'll get the results in multiple different formats, including how many strikes did this fighter land in those simulations? How many takedowns? Who's winning the simulations? Can I build DraftKings fantasy lineups from those simulations? The tool will do all of those things for you, and everything is inside the app, except the tape study. Tape study's not in the app, and that's just because of how iOS works with opening videos in new windows. But the tape study is available on a mobile browser, a regular browser. Every single thing that we do is available on a mobile browser, on a web regular browser, and inside the app. Download the app now. It's 100% free. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. And if you're not a premium member, it's fucking $10. Every single thing I just mentioned, one package for $10, not $20. Nobody's trying to rob anybody here. $10, quite literally the greatest package on this planet. If I remove 99% of it, it is still an unbelievable value at $10. WeWantPicks.com. Here's the list of events that you will get if you sign up right now. You get UFC 315. The Gilbert Burns Fight Night. I already have the safety parlay for that event built up and ready to go. We have the Aaron Blanchfield Fight Night, and then we have UFC 316, the rematch between Merab and Sean O'Malley. All the picks, all the bets, all the tools available for every single one of those cards at WeWantPicks.com. A couple of content updates. Every Sunday night at 9 p.m., I will be live with Josh Thompson. And him and I will be talking about the matchups to make next. What's next for the fighters of the card the night before? I'm filming this Sunday morning. Last night with UFC Des Moines. So tonight at 9 p.m., I will be sitting in this chair in a different outfit with Josh, and we'll be talking about who Bo Nichols should fight next, who RDR should fight next, what's next for Corey Sandhagen, and talk through next steps for a lot of those fighters every Sunday night live right here on We Want Picks. And this Thursday, this coming Thursday, is when you will get your full card breakdown on the live stream. Every Tuesday for years, we go live, breaking down that week's event. But one time a year, we can't do it on a Tuesday because I've got a whole big thing I got to do every year, once a year, and it always ruins my Tuesday. It doesn't ruin Thursday, though. So we did this last year, we did this the year before, and we're doing it again this year. Thursday night will be your full card UFC 315 breakdown. I am curious the number of comments. Where's the live stream? Where's the live stream? Even with this pitch, I say I'm going to over under 35 comments across a couple of videos. Where's the Tuesday stream? It's Thursday. Damn it. Thursday, May 8th. Normal time, normal channel. And finally, UFC 315 is a pay-per-view, and we film vlogs for the pay-per-view. You want the full vlog experience? You want us to read a letter? You want me to ask your girlfriend now for you? Or your potential girlfriend? You want me to ask a girl? No, there's not teenagers, so no problem. I don't know where I was going with that. It was actually going to get wild, and I was like, am I pitching to high schoolers? Can't do that. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078. Send a letter. You have a small business? Send it. We'll shout out your small business. Whatever it is, here's the address. And opening up, the UFC 315 main card is an unknown fight. Joel Alvarez is out. He's hurt. He's out. Benoit Saint-Denis has no opponent as of right now. I'm sure they'll give him an opponent, but he doesn't have one right now. And it's a tricky situation. The only reason I left this slide here is because inevitably this video goes up and there's 100 where's this fight? What happened to this fight? Where's this fight? Where is it? Where's this fight? I'm telling you right now, this fight doesn't exist. Maybe by the time you're watching it, they have a new opponent for Benoit. So go check out the Thursday live stream. But as of right now, there's not an opponent. I did want to spend 2 minutes, though, and ask the question, does the UFC hate Canada? I went back. I looked at all the pay-per-views the UFC takes to Canada. And Canada's a massive country, so they're all in different parts. But none of those pay-per-views are very good. None of them. This one included. This is not a spectacular fight card. It's okay. I'm interested in the main event. Very interested in the main event. Curious to see what Natalia Silva does. But this is not an unbelievable fight card. They put 2 title fights on it. Great. Awesome. So I am curious, do you, as a Canadian, I know there are many thousands of Canadians that watch this, do you feel that the UFC takes advantage of you? Because Canadians are very loyal fight fans. They're not as fair weather as some of the other fans. They stick with their people. They ride for their fighters. Most of you showed up when I'm not impressed by your performance, became a world champion. And when Georges St-Pierre rode the Canadian flag into history, he brought an entire nation with him. Georges St-Pierre's success actually opened up the UFC's mind to say, whoa, if we get the right people on the right continents, we can really blow this thing up. And the UFC rewards you with mid-tier pay-per-views. I don't understand it. In my mind, I think the UFC is taking advantage of the Canadians. Because I think the UFC is saying, we know for a fact these people are going to show up. I know they are. They love the product. They love the UFC. They almost don't care what the fights are. So I'm positive they're going to show up no matter what. That's my opinion. I'm curious, as a Canadian, am I way off base? Do you feel like the UFC actually appreciates you and gives you the fights that you deserve? Or do you feel like they just like, all right, yeah, we got to check the box. We got to go to Canada about once a year. Go ahead. Let's just give them... Valentina's last fight was boring as shit. Give him that. Belal Muhammad, reputation for being boring. Give him that. Boom. 2 title fights. Put that on the poster. 2 title fights as big as you can. They'll show up. I'm curious what you guys think, genuinely. And let's go ahead and break down the rest of this card. We got Jose Aldo taking on Aiemann Zahabi. You got yourself a Canadian. On a card in Canada, there are only 4 Canadians on this card. And yeah, they threw a couple of Frenchmen up there, if you want to count them as Canadian, but speaking French isn't the same as being Canadian. That's like going to Mexico and taking somebody from Spain and be like, here you go, he's one of you. You guys speak the same shit. So it is funny to me that on a card in Canada, there's only 4 Canadians on the entire thing. Aiemann Zahabi is one of them. Jose Aldo, old as shit. I know this graphic says 38. He is not 38. I have told this story many times before. I'm not going to tell you who told me, but it is a very big person in this space, right? A giant name in the UFC, a friend of Jose Aldo's. We were talking years ago about something, and we saw Jose Aldo in the hotel, and they were chatting, whatever, and then we just started talking. I'm like, it's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, he's not. And at this time, he was like 30. It was a long time ago. He's like, he's not 30. He's like, he just made that up. He's from the favelas. They don't have paperwork in the favelas. He didn't have a birth certificate. When it was time to grow up and move on, he went to the consulate. They said, how old are you? He said, I'm this old. And he took some years off. So yeah, he's listed at 38, but he's basically 40-something. But the reality is he's not really slowing down. And the fact that he's down at bantamweight, looking as good as he looks, still having a chin, still being fast, still being clean, is crazy. Jose Aldo is one of the best to ever do it. He remains one of the best to do it in this division. He is coming off that loss to Mario Batista. But frankly, a lot of people think Jose won that fight. All Mario did was hold Jose against the cage and try to stay at distance, where Jose was doing what Jose does. Nice leg kicks, good straights, defends takedowns like absolute crazy. Jose Aldo is impossible to take down. He's still fast, he's still clean, he's still powerful, and he still somehow has a chin, even at his advanced age, at this lower weight class. He's taking on Aiemann Zahabi, famed Firas Zahabi. Coach, he's his brother. The forming of that sentence was insane. Famed Firas Zahabi's coach's brother. That was a mess. Let's clean that up. Aiemann Zahabi's brother is a famous MMA coach. End of sentence. If you don't know who Firas is, he's the one who worked with Georges St-Pierre early in his career. He's built up some very solid Canadian talent. He's also revitalized a few careers like Rob Font's. And this means that Aiemann Zahabi has been around top-level talent and high-level coaching the entirety of his career. He never really achieved greatness, but he's always been pretty steady and pretty good. Style-wise, he's a well-rounded guy, more of a striker than anything, can be low volume at times, but we do know he has big power. He's got solid takedown defense at 79% and very good fight IQ. He's coming off that win a little while ago. Aiemann Zahabi is a pretty good fighter. And that's what makes this breakdown tricky. I was surprised to see that Jose Aldo was minus 230. UFC 314 was a card where it felt very dog heavy. We had a lot of close matchups and several different narratives, but come fight night, it was basically all chalk. The favorites ran through UFC 314. UFC 315 feels similar. I can make the case for 8 different underdogs on this card, including Aiemann. But if I zoom out, I avoid the Angelo itch to play devil's advocate. It is pretty clear that Jose is actually the better fighter. Even at his age, he is fast, he's clean, he's dangerous, he's durable, he's impossible to take down. Myself and others will argue that he did win his last fight. So Jose is the pick. But if you don't like the odds, there are plenty of prop bets that can make sense here, like an inside the distance decision, no action. Jose Aldo is going to be the pick. I hope Jose Aldo wins. I want nothing but the best for one of the best to ever do it. Aiemann Zahabi's good. He's well-rounded. But if Jose's losing to these kind of guys that are good and well-rounded but not top tier, then Jose does truly have to be done. Then we have Alexa Grasso taking on Natalia Silva in a very interesting matchup. This matters for this division a lot because Alexa Grasso is a former world champion. And Natalia Silva might be a future world champion. Alexa Grasso, as we all know by now, a fun striker, impressive volume, good takedown defense. Alexa stays busy, landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute. She moves really well. She has absolutely no problem just slugging it out in the pocket. And while she does have a little bit of power, it's not fight-ending power. She is 5-1-1 at 125 pounds after moving up from 115 pounds. And she is looking for her first win since losing her title. Alexa Grasso is trying to reinvent herself here, trying to make the changes, trying to get back to her winning ways, cut the weight, do the things. She's taking on Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva is a well-rounded fighter. She's always fun to watch. She has technical striking, but she will occasionally wing some punches from her hips and then work in some spinning attacks. She does a really good job baiting people into striking matches before then pivoting to wrestling. Good upper body takedowns, good control on top. She's good power for the division. She's got volume. She's got footwork. She's got all the talent to make things happen. She's got incredible wins as well, like over Jasmine Jasudavicius, most recently over former world champion Jessica Andrade, where she more than doubled Jessica's strikes. Natalia Silva is definitely coming into her own. And Alexa Grasso is in a weird point of her career where she's the former world champion, but she never defended that belt. She won the belt in a fight that she was losing in a fluke submission. Then she got a draw in a rematch that a lot of people felt should have gone the other way. And then she loses the belt because she could not defend takedowns. None of that is to say that Alexa isn't a good fighter, because she is. But I do mention all of that because she might not be who we thought she was. She's a very good striker. She's an opportunistic grappler, but Natalia is going to be too much here. She's fast, she's clean, she's accurate, she's mobile. I think Alexa has a hard time finding her range. I think Natalia wins this fight pretty straightforwardly. She is going to be the pick. She is the future of this division, and I do have some parlays. I think Natalia Silva can be parlayed with a couple of these other favorite women. I think on this card, where we have a lot of very good underdogs and cases to be made for a lot of underdogs, I think this is the rare card where the women will be the stability. I think the favorite women on this card are the stable ones, and it's the men we have to worry about. And this is another fight where I do think the favorite woman is going to get it done. We have Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. Valentina defending her belt for the 8th time, but only the first time since getting it back. Valentina Shevchenko is one of the best fighters on the planet, regardless of division or gender. She's obviously getting a little older, getting a little slower, but she's aging accordingly. Instead of trying to be super fast and technical and accurate on the feet, she's adding more wrestling. She's evolving with the sport. When I broke down UFC Des Moines, I talked about how Miesha Tate is not evolving with the sport. She was a mid-level wrestler before, and she's a mid-level wrestler now. Valentina Shevchenko was a high-level striker who, as she gets older, is starting to fade a little bit, but that's just what's going to happen with time and life. But she's adding more tools. She now wrestles. She just Nurmagomedov'd her way to a win. She has 37 takedowns in her last 8 fights, including 16 against Alexa Grasso. So now all of a sudden, Valentina is not just a striking threat, but a wrestling threat as well. She's always big, always strong. And now we're going to find out if any of that matters, because Manon Fiorot is bigger, Manon Fiorot is strong. She's a nasty striker with killer instinct and very real finishing power. Even when she gets taken down, she has the skills and the fight IQ to work back to her feet. She likes to fight at range. She likes to pick her shots. She has an impressive striking differential of 6-3, but she isn't just a striker. She has takedowns in all but one of her UFC fights and a solid 93% takedown defense. She's coming off that decision win over Erin Blanchfield, where she defended the takedowns, landed tons of hooks, and controlled the entire fight. And yeah, Erin Blanchfield is not Valentina Shevchenko, but at the ease in which Manon Fiorot defended anything was impressive. Valentina is the most decorated champion in the history of this division, and one of the most decorated champions in the history of any division. While the sport has passed so many others by, it seems as though Valentina has continued to evolve. As her opponents got younger and faster, she got better at wrestling. She used that wrestling in her last fight to regain the title. I mentioned 8 takedowns, 16 minutes of control. And that's important because when things were not going her way, she was smart enough and made enough adjustments to change what that fight was going to be. Now she's fighting Manon Fiorot, a high-level striker with fantastic power and speed. The issue here, though, the issue for Valentina is that if she doesn't like where this fight is taking place, I think she's going to struggle getting Manon to the ground. Manon is huge. Manon has great takedown defense, and Manon might be the hardest hitter in this division. So Manon Fiorot is going to be the pick. I think she controls the striking. I think she keeps the fight on her feet. And I think she becomes the new strawweight world champion. Manon might be this next era of fighter. Then we have Belal Muhammad taking on Jack Della Maddalena. Belal Muhammad defending his belt for the very first time. He was supposed to defend it against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Things went sideways. Belal got hurt. I think he had an infection in his foot, and he's been sidelined for a while. And now here he is, going to defend his belt for the very first time. And there's no easy task in front of him. Belal Muhammad, we all know, a nonstop wrestler. He averages a little more than 2 takedowns per fight, and while that seems like a low number, I remind you that if you're getting more than 3 takedowns a fight, that means you're taking your opponent down more than once per round, which means they're standing up on you. So anytime you get a dominant wrestler like Belal Muhammad with a low average takedown number, that means they have phenomenal control. And Belal Muhammad does have phenomenal control, which is why he has the reputation that he does have for being a boring fighter. The reality is he comes forward, he puts on pressure, he sticks to a game plan. He's got decent striking as well. It's not going to win him every fight, but it did win him that fight against Sean Brady. It's contributed to his rise to the title. He's coming off that failed fight against Shavkat, where Belal was injured, so that fight was canceled. And before that, he won the belt by literally picking up Leon Edwards and dunking him on his head like a little kid getting a swirly. He's taking on Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena is a very good striker. High-volume striker with an incredible jab. He plots forward. He sticks to his toes. He pumps that snappy jab. If you throw something back, he's going to take big steps out of the pocket and restart. He does have solid power. He's got a nose that faces the wrong direction, and he has jiu-jitsu when he needs it. His takedown defense is solid. It sits at 70%, and he's going to need every bit of it. He is coming off of that win over Gilbert Burns. And yes, on paper, he knocked out Gilbert Burns. But go use the tape index. Go rewatch that fight. He got taken down 7 times. The impressive part is that he never gave up on himself. He continued to fight. He continued to try to win. He didn't just chalk it up to, well, I'm definitely going to lose this decision, and threw a wild knee, landed it, and got it done. The scary part is he was taken down 7 times. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Belal Muhammad is the Nickelback of MMA. And that's fitting because Nickelback is a Canadian band. People are convinced they don't like him. It's cool to hate on Belal. But the reality is the dude puts out hits. He has a reputation of being a boring wrestler, but there was nothing boring about his title win over Leon Edwards. He ragdolled him. He dumped him on his head. He won the striking exchanges. He showed the world that he is more than a meme. Belal's a good wrestler who has developed striking. My only real concern here is the fact that he has developed striking. I don't want Belal to come in here with the delusion that he's going to stand with Jack Della Maddalena because he stood with Sean Brady and he backed up Leon Edwards. Hopefully, Belal doesn't fight that same way. I want him to fight the same way that he fought Wonder Boy. Come forward, shoot a gazillion takedowns. I'm going to trust the process here. I do think Belal wins. Not only is he a smart guy who understands the dangers of striking, but he also carries the wrestling reputation with him. It is very possible that the normally busy striker in Della Maddalena is frozen by the idea that takedowns are coming his way. Belal is going to be the pick. I actually do hope he wins, and here's why. If Belal Muhammad wins, then we are probably going to get Ilya versus Islam at International Fight Week. If Belal Muhammad loses, then Islam is going to jump up to 170 and fight Della Maddalena for the belt, and I don't know what the hell we're going to do for UFC 317. And the funniest part about that is I would bet my life that that's what's happening here. The reason we don't have a main event announced for UFC 317 is exactly that reason. The funniest part about that is the fact that if Belal loses, it's already a foregone conclusion they're not going to give him a rematch. It's Islam. Boom. Islam's going in. And that's kind of fucked. Belal has beaten everybody in this division. Everyone's talking about how good Sean Brady is and he deserves the next shot. Belal stopped him on his feet. Belal Muhammad's going to be the pick. I'm going to ride with him. No bets on him just yet. Let's see what happens with this line. It is starting to tighten. So if you do like Belal Muhammad, use the line movement tracker. Keep an eye on it. Might be worth just waiting a few days as more money comes in on Della Maddalena. Guys, that is the breakdown. Do me a favor. Download the app. Become a premium member. The app is 100% free in the App Store. Just search We Want Picks. Inside the app, you'll have full access to everything we do. Not the Tape Index. The Tape Index, though, is the newest tool, the latest addition to premium membership. People want to give me a hard time about building a business with my best friend, about building up a service and selling that service for $10. And the reality is people hate the promo, not the product, because we have 4,500, 4,600 premium members that log in every single day. Some are here for the tools, some are here for the picks, some are here for the bets, some are here just to support the boys. But we continue to add more and more and more. Back in January, premium membership was $10 a month, and it was the greatest value in this space. Then we added the fight simulator. Became an even better value. Then we added the Tape Index. Became an even better value. Then we added the optimizer with the beginner mode. Became an even better value. It continues to evolve. We are constantly adding, improving, evolving. Go to WeWantPicks.com, unlock premium membership. You get the Tape Index if you like to do your own research. You get the Optimizer if you give a shit about DraftKings Fantasy. You'll get the Fight Simulator if you care about DraftKings Fantasy or understanding simulations and what those look like. You're going to get the Data Analyzer. This is a hybrid tool that has everything you need. It has the Tape Index inside of it. It also has every stat for every fighter now and for the future, and you can stack those stats. If you are sitting in your computer and on the left you have your favorite sportsbook open that has a significant strike line, on the right, you have the Data Analyzer. The Data Analyzer, you can say, how many strikes has this fighter landed in decision losses? And you'll see a number there. And that's the average. And then you'll see every single fight that they lost by decision. And you can deep dive the stats. And it helps guide you into finding your spots. We have a tool called the Line Movement Tracker. I would keep an eye on this for the main event. This is going to give you the opening odds, current odds, win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. We have the Prop Hunter. This is a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And we have more than just me and this beautiful voice. We got Bet Sam. We got Artem. Jakey Boy's still doing the premium stuff. He just put up big numbers at UFC Des Moines. We have an artificial intelligence giving you picks and bets based solely off of historical data. Every single thing that I just mentioned is in one package for $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Unlock the world. I can show... We're not doing that. WeWantPicks.com. Guys, thank you so much for the watch. I appreciate every last one of you. Hopefully this card is better than I think it's going to be. Hopefully the Canadians get what they deserve. Good luck this weekend, and I look forward to Thursday's live stream with all of you.